Okay, is there sound now? There you go. I hit the mute button by accident. Ah, yes, there should be sound now. Sorry about that.
No sound.
It's coming on in just a second. You got sound now? Sound now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, like I said, I'll start with some covers and traditional songs. This first song is a song by the Incredible String Band. Great. And I'm going to leave the headphones on because it'll help me keep track of how the sound levels are until I'm comfortable with them. This is from the Hangman's Beautiful Daughter, my second favorite string band album. When the morning of your eyes comes waking through my shadow, leaving just a trace of twilight sleep, whisper to the baby raindrops playing on my window, and I tell them gently this is not the time that they should weep. Somewhere in my mind there is a painting box. I have every color there, it's true. Lately when I look into my painting box, I seem to pick the colors of you. My Friday evenings, footsteps plodding dully through this black town, are far away now from this world I'm in. My eyes are hearing sounds that I believe just might be springtime. With daffodils between my toes, I'm laughing at their whim. Somewhere in my mind there is a painting box. I have every color there, it's true. Lately when I look into my painting box, I seem to pick the colors of you. Purple sail above me catches all the strength of summer. Fishes stop and ask me where I'm bound. I smile and shake my head and say my little ship is sinking, but I kind of like the sea that I'm on, and I don't mind if I do drown. Somewhere in my mind there is a painting box. I have every color there, it's true. Lately when I look into my painting box, I seem to pick the colors of you. Now the purple sail above me catches all the strength of summer. Fishes stop and ask me where I'm bound. I smile and shake my head and say my little ship is sinking, but I kind of like the sea that I'm on, and I don't mind if I do drown. Somewhere in my mind there is a painting box. I have every color there, it's true. Lately when I look into my painting box, I seem to pick the colors of you. I seem to pick the colors of you. There you go, the Incredible String Band painting box. There you go. It's a beautiful, cloudy sort of day here in Brooklyn. Moody. Beautiful is maybe not the word. It's moody. It's moody out there. Stay with the... What do we do next here? Okay, let's do one of my own songs now. I've been doing this a lot recently because somebody reminded me of it. It was Grungy O'Muck. Phil Allen, otherwise known as Grungy O'Muck, who reminded me of this song a few weeks ago. So I revived it, and I just finished a recording of it, which you can find now as part of my album online called Salt for Silver, and the song is called Evelyn, and it's one of the first good songs I ever wrote. Beside a water wheel, Dawn was laying diamonds in the grass. My Evelyn looked gently down. Water was her looking glass. The snow had come and gone, and the shoots of May were pushing through the ground. A bird did sing on every bough. Oh Lord, it made the softest sound. Sun is rising, it's not surprising. I know the sun, he's my friend. I hardly know you. Where are you going to, and when will you be back again? The snow had come and gone, and the shoots of May were pushing through the ground. A bird did sing on every bough. Lord, it made the softest sound. Sun is rising, it's not surprising. I know the sun, he's my friend. I hardly know you. Where are you going to, and when will you be back again? I hardly know you. Where are you going to, and when will you be back again? Beside a water wheel. There you go. Evelyn. It's about living in a treehouse one summer with a lovely lady named Evelyn. Okay, this is a hit song. From the 1870s. It was back in the days when families would gather in the parlor around Mom or their daughter, who usually played piano, and Dad would play a banjo, and everyone would sing the songs together. This is one of the songs that was the most popular song of that era, and then for the next 20 years, everybody loved this song. My mom used to sing this song, dancing around the house, smoking her cigarettes, cleaning, doing the housework, and I've heard that story from other people. This was Mom's favorite song to dust the house with. God only knows. Oh, my golden slippers have been laid away, and I don't expect to wear them till my wedding day. And my long-tailed coat that I love so well, gonna wear it in the chariot in the morning. And the old gray coat I bought last June, gonna put it away, it fits too soon. The old gray mare that I used to drive, gonna hitch her to the chariot in the morning. Oh, them golden slippers, oh, them golden slippers I'm gonna wear, 'cause they look so neat. Oh, them golden slippers, oh, them golden slippers I'm gonna wear, walk on the golden street. Now my old banjo hangs on the wall, it ain't been tuned since late last fall. Everybody says we're gonna have a good time when we ride that chariot in the morning. There'll be Brother Ben and his sister Luce, gonna telegraph a message to my Uncle Bacadouce about the sweet camp meeting we will have that day when we ride that chariot in the morning. Oh, them golden slippers, oh, them golden slippers I'm gonna wear, 'cause they look so neat. Oh, them golden slippers, oh, them golden slippers I'm gonna wear to walk on the golden street. Well, it's goodbye, children, I've got to go where the rain don't fall and the wind don't blow. The Ulster coats, you won't need them when you ride that chariot in the morning. And your golden slippers should be neat and clean, and your age should be just sweet 16. Your kid white gloves, you should wear them when you ride that chariot in the morning. Oh, them golden slippers, oh, them golden slippers I'm gonna wear, 'cause they look so neat. Oh, them golden slippers, oh, them golden slippers I'm gonna wear to walk on the golden street. Ah, the golden slippers I'm gonna wear to walk on the golden street. An old camp revival song. There'll be Brother Ben and his sister Luce. We're going to telegraph a message to my Uncle Bacco Juice. That's deep stuff there. That's deep stuff there. Alrighty. Let's stay with the lighter-hearted side of things. This one goes out to Harvey. I know he likes this particular tune. By His Majesty's decree, the people are invited to a celebration on the palace lawn. If you come just after 3, the food and drink will be provided. If you don't go, you will wish that you had gone. For the princess is engaged to a 6-day tandem racer, a faster man on wheels there's never been. And the wedding date is reckoned at July the 22nd. When he arrives, the celebration will begin. Now the king was very glad his daughter finally had a husband trapped to occupy her days. For she rarely did a thing but to sit and weep and sing, and to wander through the palace garden maze. And the tandem racer's name was Baron Basil Werner, possessor of a world-famed racing cup. He spins his silver pedals and he polishes his metals, and you couldn't count the times that he stood up. On July the 21st, the royal wedding was rehearsed, and everyone except the groom was there. Oh, they tried hard not to worry. They were sure that he would hurry and arrive with lots of time to spare. But from Luxembourg, the tandem racer sent a cablegram. He'd raced against the clock and he had lost. And his wheels spin round and they make a whirring sound, and you couldn't count the countries that he'd crossed. Well, they held the wedding anyway, though it started in to rain, and the princess emptied water from her shoe. It rained all day, and the baron never came, and the people all found better things to do. And they did. They found better things to do. Left the king lonely on his balcony. Balcony lonely. Balcony lonely. Alrighty, let's change grooves entirely now. And I hope you don't mind my keeping the headphones on. It helps me with my technical balance here. I know I look kind of funny this way, but I feel like a man of the future when I'm wearing headphones. Someday we'll have wheels instead of feet and headphones instead of ears. That's the future I envision. The shining future, the shining city on the hill. This is the first swing song I ever tried to write, and I wrote it when the Central Park Sheiks, the Eastern Kings of Western Swing, invited me to join their band. I had not written any exactly swing songs. I tried to write a couple of jazz tunes, but they were not very good in my early incarnations. But this is the first time I sat down and wrote a deliberate attempt at a swing song. And my inspiration, I believe, Dan Hicks and the Hot Licks. This tune is the first cut on the Central Park Sheiks album, which is called Honeysuckle Rose, and which you can get for an exorbitant price by shopping at Amazon. I think it's like $60. You can get Rolling Stones albums for cheaper than that, which shows you how famous we were, or how ridiculously rare those copies of the CD are. I think that might be the latter. It would be the truth. I'm a shipwrecked man in a sea of trouble. watching the rain make crazy puzzles on the window pane. In a sea of rain, how do you stay dry? When I'm down, I go put on a record, even if I've heard that song too many times before. I play it one time more, it still makes me cry. She's gone, she left no note, no number to call. She's gone, and lately I ain't seen her at all again, and all I do is watch the rain. She's gone, she left no note, no number to call. She's gone, and lately I ain't seen her at all again, and all I do is watch the rain. If I were a bird, I'd fly above this rain cloud. Where the sun is shining, I'd be flying high. At least I'd try. Oh, if I were a bird, but I ain't. If you ain't heard, I'm just a shipwrecked man in a sea of trouble, watching the rain make crazy puzzles on the window pane. In a sea of rain, how do you stay dry? The Shipwrecked Man in the Sea of Trouble. How do you stay dry? I'll do a song now by one of my favorite songwriters. When I was first learning to write songs, or wanting to write songs, I hadn't really even started learning to, but I wanted to. There were a few people, of course, that you wanted to imitate. Well, there was Dylan, because groundbreaking stuff there. But somebody once asked Bob Dylan, did he think he was the greatest American songwriter? And Bob Dylan laughed at him. He said, obviously you've never listened to Paul Simon. Which kind of surprised me for Dylan to acknowledge it in that way. But subsequently I've learned that Dylan is a much mellower man than people pretend. He actually was very respectful to people that he thought were better than he was. Paul Simon has written a huge number of songs. This is one of the most popular Paul Simon songs there is. Now I am just a poor boy, my story's seldom told. I've squandered my resistance for a pocket full of mumbles, such are promises. All lies and jest, still a man hears what he wants to hear and disregards the rest. Lie, lie. When I left my home and family, I was no more than a boy in the company of strangers, in the quiet of the railroad station, running scared, laying low, seeking out the poorer quarters where the ragged people go, looking for the places only they would know. Lie, 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 seeking only workman's wages. I go looking for a job, I get no offers, just to come on from the whores on 7th Avenue. I do declare there were times when I was so lonesome I sought some comfort there. Lie, lie, lie. Now I'm laying out in my winter clothes, I'm wishing I was home, going home, where the New York City winters aren't bleeding me, leading me, going home. In the clearing stands a boxer, and a fighter by his trade, and he carries a reminder of every blow that laid him low and cut him till he cried out in his anger and his shame, I'm leaving, I am leaving, the fighter still remains. Lie, 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 lie. stands a boxer and a fighter by his trade, and he carries a reminder of every blow that laid him low and cut him till he cried out in his anger and his shame, I am leaving, but the fighter still remains. La la la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. The Dylan version of that, which you can find on the Dylan Biograph album, incidentally, is a wonderful version of it, and very, very nice, very nice. Okay, here's a tune of mine. And thank you all for being here. I guess my audience is my dear friends Harvey and Joe's. Saturdays are funny. I know people are busy, and it's hard to get them to do this, but any show that I do now that comes across pretty well gets saved, and you can always download these from YouTube. If you are at YouTube and you haven't done so already, but I suspect my current audience has already done so, just subscribe, because it helps me get my numbers up, which eventually, many thousands of listeners down the line, will lead to my modest monetization of this. Rimbaud. Maybe he meant Rambo. I don't know. Okay. Well, that's funny, Harvey. Yeah, with Dylan, you get what you get. So anyway, this song is about my neighborhood here in Brooklyn. It's the neighborhood's called Gravesend. A historical fact about Gravesend, Brooklyn, is that in the early days when it was a farming community, as almost all of the Brooklyn communities were, unless they were shipyard communities, like over by the river and the harbor mouth, these were all farms. This particular community was the first colonized community in the U.S. with a woman governor, whose name I can't seem to quite get a confirmation of. I know that she was the woman governor, and I intend to be able to say her name as soon as I get a confirmation of it. The fact is always said that she was the first woman governor, but for some reason in many of the histories where I've read this, they neglect to mention that most important detail. And with history, Harvey, you get what you get. I will find it eventually, and I will know that her name is probably Rambo. This was when my wife moved into it. Was a predominantly Italian neighborhood. Some Middle Eastern people, some Latino people. But a few years ago, we had a huge, like a tidal wave of Orientals. I know I'm not supposed to use that word. It was Chinese people, mostly the Han Chinese, who are the more successful sort of middle-class Chinese, came in and bought up the neighborhood. And for a while, we were worried that it would cease to be our neighborhood. But they seemed to like us, so we're still here. Our old Italian neighborhood has turned Chinese, maybe for good. Water, water everywhere. And the ghetto has been gentrified. The first folks have been pushed aside. Doesn't matter if it's fair. It's the same thing everywhere. The Indians that once lived here, they made their trade in hunting deer. Water, water everywhere. They made a bargain with the Dutch that really didn't leave them much. But the Dutchmen didn't care. Money, money everywhere. Now the hippies have all moved upstate, and the hipsters came to take their place. Maybe the only difference is the hair. And the little shops you could afford to shop in now, they all are boarded. The building owners, they don't care. It's the same thing everywhere. Well, the water just goes where it will. You know it always flows downhill. Rivers running everywhere. And who are you and I to kid? It just does what it always did. Just goes where it's meant to be, flowing till it finds the sea. Water, water everywhere. Music clubs have all shut down. New York is a rich man's town. Doesn't matter if it's fair. And the only music that remains is while you're waiting for the trains. You can tip them if you care. It's the same thing everywhere. Well, the money just goes where it must. It's all about the boom or bust. Buddy, have you got a dime to spare? And who are you and I to kid? It settles for the lowest bid. The bottom line is where it goes. That's just the way the money flows. Doesn't matter if it's fair. Now in my new Chinese neighborhood, the people that I meet are good. It's the same thing everywhere. No matter where they come from, friend, they're only people in the end. It's not their fault they had to settle there. People, people everywhere. People trying just to be everywhere like you and me, like water flowing to the sea, going where we're meant to be. Water, 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 water everywhere. There you go, water, water everywhere. Take a moment to get in tune here. Got an old set of strings on here. I've been waiting for my string company to provide me with some new strings. Okay, here we go. E is good. A is good. D is a tad flat. Better. Just a tad flat. Funny thing about the strings that I use is when I first put them on, they're hard to tune, and about 3 days later they become perfect, and then they get a little hard to tune, and then about 3 weeks later they become perfect again. I wish life was like that for all of us. Elixirs are the strings I use, if you're curious about that completely trivial bit of nonsense. Elixirs. This is a Louis Jordan song. Give me a chance to play a little bit of funky style guitar for you. And if you've never heard it, the Joe Jackson Jumpin' Jive album is Joe Jackson with a 15-piece orchestra that he put together. And by the way, Joe Jackson really knows how to write orchestra scores. And it's a collection of Louis Jordan songs, and it is outstanding. I wore that record out 3 different times. So you look for that Jumpin' Jive and Louis Jordan. That's not where I heard this song. This song, oddly enough, is not on there, though it was a big hit for Jordan. 3 Little Guys Named Mo is on there, and boy, the Joe Jackson version just kills. It's just great. The Blue Light Boogie. I went to a party with that Bobby's socks, and at the party I got an awful shock. They like to boogie real slow with the blue lights way down low. They like to boogie real slow with the blue lights way down low. I started swinging, all she did was rock. I kept on swinging. She said, now listen, Pop, I like to boogie real slow with the blue lights way down low. I like to boogie real slow with the blue lights way down low. Now I looked around, the shades were drawn, and those chicks were in the groove. I didn't see how those cats could dance when their feet didn't even move. I started swinging, I put my left foot out, kept on swinging, I heard somebody shout, we like to boogie real slow with the blue lights way down low. We like to boogie real slow with the blue lights way down low. The place was jumping, we really had a time. The place was jumping, I nearly lost my mind. I couldn't boogie real slow with the blue lights way down. Boogie real slow with the blue lights way down low. Now those girls and boys made so much noise, they even had a raid. Oh, but the only thing those cops could find was ice cream and lemonade. Oh, what a party, I should have stayed at home. What a party, I was like a chaperone. I couldn't boogie real slow with the blue lights way down low. I couldn't boogie real slow with the blue lights. Boogie real slow with the blue lights. Boogie real slow with the blue lights way down. Louis Jordan, the Blue Light Boogie. There you go. Hello, Sharon Wilson. How nice to see you. I hope you're doing well, my dear. I miss seeing you. I miss hanging out with all my friends. All of us missing so much because our friends mean so much to us. You guys do. I get to hang out with my favorite friend. I hope I'm not driving her crazy. I'm sure I am actually driving her crazy. All right, this is another tune from Salt for Silver. I played Evelyn before. That's now on Salt for Silver. You can download that as an individual track or go ahead and download the whole album. This particular tune is an homage to Bob Dylan. Since we're talking about Bob Dylan, I figured it'd be proper to do this tune. And the reason the song got written was that I found out that Bob Dylan loved to do metal welding. He'd make enormous sculptings out of found metal pieces, very similar to Pablo Picasso's work, if you know that work. Thank you, Harvey. I've been working to get the sound as good as I can get it. I don't know how you people could put up with how bad it sounded when I first started. Had one little mic, but thank you so much for being steadfast. I'll give you salt for silver if you'll only make the trade. This poetry, these melodies are things that I have made. I've woven them from songs I've heard, from stories I've been told. I'll give you salt for silver unless you offer gold. Gonna build a big machine, a mechanical collage. Gonna build it in the workshop in the back of my garage. It's gonna be a wild contraption made of cogs and wheels and gears and discarded bits of everything I've gathered through the years. And when it gets to rolling, it's gonna make an awesome sound, like thunder in the mountains or an earthquake underground. When I'm done, they're gonna ask me, Bob, explain that thing to me, and I will turn around and tell the man it's nothing you can't see. Gonna write a crazy song, not sure what it's gonna mean. Might be plain, might be a puzzle, might be something in between. Gonna populate the verses with people from my dreams. It might point to something deep or maybe just be what it seems. Oh, and when I get to singing it, it's gonna make an awful noise. I really can't be bothered by the folks my voice annoys. When I'm done, they're gonna beg me, please explain that thing to me. And I will turn around and tell them, man, it's nothing you can't see. Do I really have to tell you that is just the way I roll? I'm just a simple farm boy with a complicated soul, who set out first to follow in Woody Guthrie's tracks, to sing about the common man and the burdens on their backs. Gonna write an epic novel, a mountain range of prose. Might turn the tide of history or turn all my friends to foes. It's gonna be a wild concoction made of thoughts and words and prayers. There might be nothing underneath when you peel away the layers. Oh, if I fail in that ambition, I'm gonna put away my pen, put on ordinary clothing, go and walk the world of men. Gonna look in all their faces at the stories in their eyes, in the hopes that all the misery I see there makes me wise. Do I really have to tell you that is just the way I roll? I'm just a simple farm boy with a complicated soul, who set out first to follow in Woody Guthrie's tracks, to sing about the common man and the burdens on their back, who got waylaid in the city by the beatniks and the clowns, and the grief that always comes to you from mixing ups and downs, who tried his hand at Jesus and then suffered a relapse and had to rebuild his ideas from all these bits and scraps. I'll give you salt for silver if you'll only make the trade. This poetry, these melodies are things that I have made. I've borrowed them from songs I've heard, from stories I've been told. I will give you salt for silver unless you offer gold. There you go, salt for silver. What'll I do? I have an impromptu list right here. Let me gaze upon it, and alrighty. Seems only correct, having done an homage to Bob Dylan, to do Bob Dylan's song. This is on the short list of when anyone's learning to play guitar and they want to learn a Bob Dylan song. This is probably one of the first ones they ever learn, because it's not hard to play, but it sure is a pretty song. Once again, let me just take that glorious moment to make sure I'm adequately in tune for you. It's a G. Love being in tune. If today was not an endless highway, if tonight was not a crooked trail, if tomorrow wasn't such a long time, then lonesome would mean nothing to me at all. If only my own true love was waiting, and I could hear her heart softly pounding, and only if she were laying by me would I lay in my bed once again. I can't see my reflection in the water. I can't speak the sound that knows no pain. I can't hear the echo of my footsteps or remember the sound of my own name. And only if my own true love was waiting, and I could hear her heart softly pounding, and only if she were laying by me, would I lay in my bed once again. There's beauty in the silver singing rivers, and there's beauty in the sunrise in the sky. None of these and nothing else can match the beauty I still remember in my true love's eyes. And only if my own true love was waiting, and I could hear her heart softly pounding, and only if she were laying by me, would I lay in my bed once again. Yeah, there you go. See if I have any new visitors here. It's us. It's us. We're the tight little crew. You're all necessary. I could play a recording of me, I guess, but it's not as much fun. Gosh and gollies. Okay. Take just a moment, if I may borrow you for a moment. I don't know if this goes out to who has and who hasn't, but before I do the next couple of songs, I want to talk about this. And this is, if you were already here listening to me live, I'm suspecting all of you know about this, but this is for the sake of people that maybe drop in and are hearing this and have never listened to me or know anything about me. These are some books that I have written. The first two there, Dead Man's Coat and Spindrift Factor, are currently available from Amazon Books in paperback or ebook format. The third edition of that is a triptych. There are 3 stories of my family from my grandfather to modern times. Will be available within a matter of a month or so. I'm working on finishing it right now. You can get those from Amazon, and that's great if you do. And if you do and you like them and you enjoy them, drop a review. It always helps me get more book sales if there's people see good reviews. And over there on the right-hand side, you'll see it says The White Gallery. And that's an ebook formatted collection of short stories, which is available for anyone who wants one. I will just send it to you free of charge, just to give you a taste of the kind of writing I do when I do something other than songwriting. So that's that, and that's just a minor word from our sponsor. So anyway, what you're about to hear now are a couple of songs that relate to those stories. The first song here, I decided to write a novel, about my grandfather. And at first I wasn't sure which grandfather I wanted to write about, because both of them, my matriarchal and my patriarchal, were very interesting men. So when I finally got around to writing it, I ended up writing about both of them. My grandfather on my father's side, his name was Timothy O'Keefe. Had to change his name for reasons that the book explains pretty clearly. And on my mother's side, matriarchal grandfather, well, his name was Joseph Epps, we think, because he may have changed his name as well. And all of that gets delved into in the book. I wrote this song early in the planning of those books, and this is both of their lives combined together in one story, as if they're one person. because after all, their DNA and my grandmother's all joined together to make me, so I figured it was a fair trade to make them one person. So this song is called The Cowboy from Boston and contains features and details from both of their lives. Well, he played an old fiddle made over in Europe, recited the poets and quoted the bards, rode out of the east on a sway Appaloosa, the cowboy from Boston with a sleeve full of cards, with a hey diddle ho riding high in the saddle, a pearl handle pistol and a master's degree, come 3,000 miles to the streets of Seattle to wet his fine whistle on some fresh Chinese tea. Kinda East Coast goes west to meet Far East, you see. A good man or bad, it depends on just who was talking. He bluffed like a champion, lied like a snake. The ladies all swooned when he twirled his mustaches, and they snuck out their back door to bring him some cake. With a hey diddle ho riding over the prairie, fancy pants holsters and real silver spurs. The music he fiddled was so fine and airy, looking up in the sky he could name all the stars. He knew all his history and the generals and wars. Now he rode down the coast to the West Texas border, to the Mexican desert where the summer was fierce. He got all caught up in the good revolution. He fought at the side of an old man named Bierce. With a Viva Zapata he gave a loud holler, his gentleman's clothing all spattered with mud. He shot like a bandit, but he talked like a scholar, the cowboy from Boston, all hell bent for blood. Just a cowboy from Boston won't come to no good. Not too far from Houston, he stopped a stray bullet. The last words he said lifted right off the page. It was something he'd learned from the poet of Avon, how all men are players and life is a stage. With a viva la vida, that was how fate had planned it. There's no one can say once that hand rolls the bones. He talked like a scholar, but he shot like a bandit, the cowboy from Boston laying under some stones. Just a cowboy from Boston, come a long way from home. The cowboy from Boston, come a long way from home. The cowboy from Boston, come a long way from home. So this next song is once again set in the world of my novels. This is also a character from Dead Man's Coat. In a nutshell, my grandfather, Timothy, went out west and he got involved in some shenanigans that were probably very well meant, but led to some death and destruction. And one of the characters that he got involved with was an old prospector named Crane, who'd gotten tired of wandering around the desert and the mountains looking for gold, dredging in the streams and scraping at the earth, and figured maybe there was a more efficient way to get some gold, and got involved in a ill-fated stagecoach robbery, which is the heart and essence of Dead Man's Coat, the novel. So anyway, this is the story of Crane, the old prospector. The song is called Moonlight Palomino. rattlesnake waits in the shadow of a rock. Field mouse hides from the eyes of a hawk. Cactus stands like a statue of a man. Him and me, my horse named Dan, on a dusty road. Indian watching from a switchback bridge. Ghost riders running up a cloudy bridge. Twilight stealing in a corner of the sky. Riding along, thinking by and by I'll put down my load. Give me sweet fresh water now, and give me a cool, cool breeze. Let me lay my head down in a grove of shady trees. I want a big white house with a pretty little wife inside, and a moonlight palomino I can ride. There's a ghost town down where the creek ran dry. Buzzards circled in the hard blue sky. Dusty old bar, empty bottles on the shelf. Piano in a corner that plays itself. It's a spooky sound. I hitched my horse to an old fence rail, fetched up water in a leaky pail. I want to get out of town before the daylight fails. I don't want to stick around. Give me sweet fresh water now, and give me a cool, cool breeze. Let me lay my head down in a grove of shady trees. I'd like a big white house with a pretty little wife inside, and a moonlight palomino I can ride. Jackrabbit runs from the scattering stones. Blackbird cries to rattle your bones. Cow skull laying by a watering hole. Don't drink there, you might lose your soul in the burning sun. I left my home and I can't go back. Wildflower growing in a wagon wheel track. Dry wind coming down from the hills, looking for a place a waterfall spills when the day's done. Give me sweet fresh water now, and give me a cool, cool breeze. Let me lay my head down in a grove of shady trees. I'd like a big white house with a pretty little wife inside, and a moonlight palomino I can ride. It's the Moonlight Palomino. And what time we're getting there. You're getting an hour of music out of me. I hope I need to do a few more songs for you. Thank you so much for being here. Please try to lure some of your friends in. A lot of people know that I play, but not many people actually have heard me play. And I think if they did, they would subscribe, and I would, every subscriber I get goes toward the 1,000 subscribers I need in order to qualify for getting monetized on my site. Then I have to have, believe it or not, 4,000 hours of listening to my... It's a mountain to climb in a world that's kind of indifferent to songwriters that no one's ever heard of before, but that's life, and that's it's a challenge, and I'll try to rise to it because I believe in what I do. Here's just a beautiful, beautiful song by somebody that, God, 2020 is just a fucking pisser of a year. Peter Michael Smith wrote this song, and he passed from our world just about a month and a half ago. Well, the Dutchman's not the kind of man who keeps his thumb jammed in the dam that holds his dreams in. That's a secret only Margaret knows. When Amsterdam is golden in the summer, Margaret brings him breakfast, she believes in him. He thinks that tulips bloom beneath the snow. He's mad as he can be. Margaret only sees that sometimes. Sometimes she sees her unborn children in his eyes. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man. Dear Margaret remembers that for me. The Dutchman still wears wooden shoes. His coat and cap are stitched with love that Margaret sews in them. Sometimes he thinks he's still in Rotterdam. He follows tugboats down canals and waves to them when he thinks he knows the captain, till Margaret comes to take him home again, through unforgiving streets that trip him though she holds his arm. Sometimes he thinks that he's alone, calls her name. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man. Dear Margaret remembers that for me. Well, the winter whirls the windmills round. She winds his muffler tight. They sit in the kitchen. Some tea with whiskey keeps away the dew. He sees her for a moment, says her name. She makes the bed up, singing some old love song. A song that Margaret learned when it was new. He sings a line or two. They hum together in the night. The Dutchman falls asleep and Margaret blows the candle out. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man. Dear Margaret remembers that for me. Peter Michael Smith's The Dutchman. The Dutchman. And if you don't know Peter Michael Smith's song, you should seek it out. You can find them on YouTube. They're beautiful songs. He was a wonderful, wonderful songwriter who has proved to me that you didn't have to be famous to be great. And I guess I aspire to that sort of greatness. Thank you, dear friends. I am going to do some more songs just because you're still here. Something a little livelier. Another song based on Dead Man's Coat. This is the first time I referenced my grandfather in a song. Just threw in a verse about him and his banditry. But that led to an acerbic commentary on the socio-economic zeitgeist. My grandpa was a grifter, a gambler and a heel. He snuck around from town to town and he dealt a dirty deal. He went out in the wild world to steal what he could steal. And you know he stole a fortune, but the money wasn't real. No, the money wasn't real. Funny how it is, you know now the money wasn't real. He set out as a bandit, he came back empty-handed. He should have been a rich man, but the money wasn't real. The Pharaoh was a miser and his story has been told. He had 10,000 workers build a pyramid to hold all his statues and his trappings, his caskets and his gold. You know he wanted to have everything, but all he got was old, 'cause none of it was real. Funny how it is, you know now, none of it was real. His monument so grand got covered up by sand, and he's just another mummy, oh, 'cause none of it was real. Now a poor man buys a loaf of bread and he shares it and it's gone. A rich man wrecks his portion, yet his wealth keeps rolling on. And the good things that you've said and done, nothing you can pawn. 'Cause when you're in the underclass, you're always overdrawn. 'Cause the money isn't real. Funny how it is, you know now the money isn't real. You can follow all the rules made by idiots for fools, and think you'll get your just reward, but you won't. You won't pick up a penny, oh, but you might spare a dime. A dollar buys a pretty meager way to waste your time. A C-note gets you groceries, and a grand might buy a thrill. You might rake in a shitload and still not get your fill. I live in America, a country built on greed, and I suppose that's not a bad thing if you just take what you need. But it seems everyone's afflicted by a hunger to exceed. Why should one man have a billion when there's a million mouths to feed? 'Cause the money isn't real. Funny how it is, you know now the money isn't real. You can burn it, you can earn it, oh, but in the end you'll learn that it all amounts to nothing. Now I bought me some insurance in case I pass away. I've heard that could happen, and who am I to say? I might live forever, and they'd never have to pay. Shit, who would be the loser then if it all turned out that way? 'Cause the money isn't real. Funny how it is, you know now the money isn't real. You can spend it, you can lend it, oh, but you'll find that in the end it all amounts to nothing. Yes, it's funny how it all amounts to nothing. So funny how it all amounts to nothing, 'cause the money isn't. There it is. The money isn't real. Well, what to do? Put some peanut butter in my shoe. I'm going to do another song or two if there's any particular request. The Ballad of Dan Moody. That is a beautiful song. And yeah, you know, I have been thinking about learning that one, Harvey. Yeah, that's a beautiful song, and thanks for nudging me, because I actually loaded it up in YouTube and was listening to it just a couple of days ago. It's got an amazing structure to it. Just a really amazing structure to that song. Okay, let's. I'm going to do two songs, exactly two more songs. This song is an ancient song, and it goes back to the 14th century. It originally was a minstrel song. It had hundreds of verses. I've seen them. It's half of a book of song verses, 50 pages at least, of just every minstrel made up their own verse, and they're all about the wandering madmen. Historically speaking, those were the people that didn't want to live in the walled cities that would become walled city-states. They didn't want to pay taxes, and they were eventually rounded up during the Enclosure Act, which was a horrible thing that they did in England, and they were called madmen, and they were put in a place called Bedlam, which was really the foundation of insane asylums and prisons thereafter. So that's who the wandering madmen were. This song got shortened to 12 useful verses by Shakespeare, and was used as some background music, I believe, in King Lear, in those productions. And then in the 20th century, the poet Kenneth Patchen reduced it to about 12 nice verses. And then my old friend and compadre and brilliant science fiction writer Samuel R. Delany reduced it to 8 really good verses and wrote the guitar score that you're about to hear. I've added some things to it, but this is really the work of Samuel R. Delany, Chip Delany, Tom O'Bedlam. Bedlam boys, Bedlam boys, Bedlam boys are bonny, for they all go bare and they live in the air, and they want no drink nor money. From the hag and the hungry goblin that into rags would rend he, spirits that stand by a naked man, and the book of moons defend ye. That of your 5 sound senses you shall not be forsaken, or wander from yourselves with Tom abroad to beg your bacon. Oh, I do sing any food, any feeding, shelter, drink, or clothing. Come dame nor maid, be not afraid, poor Tom will endure nothing. The moon's my constant mistress, and the lonely owl my marrow. The flaming drake and the night crow make me music to my sorrow. I know more than Apollo, for oft while he lay sleeping, I see the stars at bloody wars and the wounded welkin weeping. Oh, I do sing any food, any feeding, shelter, drink, or clothing. Come dame nor maid, be not afraid, poor Tom will endure nothing. With a host of furious fancies, whereof I am commander, with a flaming spear and a horse of air, to the wilderness I wander. By a night of ghosts and shadows I summon damned attorney, 10 leagues beyond the wide world's end, methinks it is no journey. Oh, I do sing any food, any feeding, shelter, drink, or clothing. Come dame nor maid, be not afraid, poor Tom will endure nothing. I'll find my merry mad Magdalene, and I'll seek whate'er betides her, and I will love beneath of above the dirty earth that hides her. My staff has murdered giants, and my bag a long knife carries, for to cut mince pies from children's thighs with which to feed the fairies. Oh, I do sing any food, any feeding, shelter, drink, or clothing. Come dame nor maid, be not afraid, poor Tom will endure nothing. Bedlam boys, Bedlam boys, Bedlam boys are bonny, for they all go bare and they live in the air, and they want no drink nor money. And this is the last song. Is if you go visit my channel on YouTube, which you can find just by clicking on the links that got you to this thing, and then you see all the videos that I put up, you'll find a very nice video for this song. This song is dedicated to the plastic bag that resides in the tree across from our window. The bag has been in that tree for a good 6 or 7 years. It's not going anywhere. And it was the inspiration for this song. A plastic bag blows down the street, gets tangled in a tree. Chances are another breeze will come to break it free and blow it down the alley through the back lots to the beach, where a child may try to catch it, but it sails right past her reach. It floats out on the ocean and it settles on the tide, and a passing whale may swallow it and it gets lodged inside. Run, Jenny, run, come look what's washed up on the sands. Come and see the gentle giant that's been slain by unknown hands. It's not your fault and it's not mine. It didn't happen by design. It makes us sad, it makes no sense. It's only unintended consequence. An old man has a cardboard shack in a weed-choked vacant lot. He's long since quit regretting all the things he hasn't got. He seeks no help from strangers, he lives as best he can. The people say he's homeless, but I say he's just a man. He comes down to my street and lays a blanket on the ground, and he makes a meager livelihood from things that he has found. He might accept a quarter, but he'll settle for a dime till the police come and stop him, 'cause they say that that's a crime. It's not your fault and it's not mine. It didn't happen by design. It makes us sad, it makes no sense. It was an unintended consequence. The hills have caught on fire since the summer brought us drought. The rangers fight it day and night, but they can't put it out. The people here are used to it, it happens every year. When a thing becomes familiar, we lose all sense of fear. The weather lady tells us that there's not much chance for rain. The scientists predicted this, and the Christians all are praying. And as for me, I'll find a quiet hill to watch it from, and practice my acceptance of things that surely come. It's not my fault, and it's not yours. Sometimes it's parched, sometimes it pours. There's no blame here to dispense. There's only unintended consequence. It's not their fault and it's not ours. We'll shift the blame to higher powers. Let's just say it was a long chain of events that led to unintended consequence. And that concludes my hour and some of music to all of you. Thank you, my dear friends, for visiting with me. Come back when you can. Please try to scare some new friends up for my list here. Just let them know that guy is good. Send them on over. I'll take care of the rest of it just by being as good as I can possibly be, as I wish to be for you. And I wish you all a lovely afternoon, a lovely weekend, a lovely life. Don't let the bullshit drive you crazy. It's too easy to let it into your skin and into your heart. Just keep on loving each other and loving yourselves and loving what you do. And I miss you. I'll see you. Be well.